like it's working pretty decent. Right. May need to blow and shrink this thing up. Blow up, shrink. Okay. The Authority. I think there's no one left to save the world. You really don't want to call these guys to save the world. Just based on what I've seen so far, they kind of fuck it up. Written by Warren Ellis and Brian Hitch. That's going to be one of those comics. All right, try this again. Let's try this again. Okay. Good enough. Good enough. Moscow. It appears something terrible in Moscow. Background gone. Some sort of menace coming from the skies. Boom! There goes Moscow. Terrible, terrible thing to do to Moscow. Who would do such a thing? These menaces, these aliens from the sky, who clearly enjoy blowing everything up with their laser beam eye. And there goes the city. Meanwhile, back in New York City. My God, Moscow's half gone and there's not a damn thing anyone can do. How do we get to be so goddamn weak, Christine? I mean, why are we running a superhuman security and intelligence advisory office for the United Nations rather than, you know what I mean? Damn it, Jackson, they won't fund Stormwatch. There is no international superhuman crisis response team. There never will be. The UN can't afford it anymore. And so yes, if some bunch of super bastards wants to spend an hour gutting a major world city, we sit back and say, yes sir. You don't run Stormwatch anymore. You don't get to be Jackson King, Weatherman. I don't get to be Christine Trelane, faithful retainer. Most of Stormwatch are dead. We buried them, love. Can't even trace the people who hit Moscow without the Spacewatch space station. Without the Skywatch space station. And that doesn't exist either. All we can do is hope they don't come after New York next. Is that the way we have to live now? Hoping that some superhuman lunatic just takes out the next guy? There's no left to stop them. Even Jenny Sparks and the Stormwatch Black Deep Cover team has vanished. Hell, I wasn't even allowed to admit they existed. We were somewhere else when they hit Moscow. It won't happen again. Tell me everything you know. Meanwhile, back on Gomorrah Island. Gomorrah Island, standing off the Asian continent, used to be called Perusia. 70 years ago, the brothers Gomorrah were born into Perusia. By the age of 10, the brothers Gomorrah ran their village. By 16, they ran the country. By 18, they had remade Perusia as an island factory for terror. Sim, Ui, and Kaizen. And by 20, I had killed my brothers Sim and Woi. And I remember and honor them by retaining the symbol we used in the old days, the circle with 3 knots. In the old days, it was a thin leather bracelet. It served as a symbol, born to identify the creatures, the brothers Gomorrah. Today, it is a smooth corporate logo. The meaning is the same. Anything marked with a Gamorra circle belongs to the clan Gamorra. I am cutting a circle upon the earth, and Moscow was nothing but the first knot. 2 more knots, 2 more cities, and earth shall bear the mark, Kaizen Gamorra. Does anyone else find this a little bit nuts? I have spent 2 years building you all. 2 years since I returned to Terror after my captivity at the hands of a rogue American Superman. 2 years since I returned to Terror and Stormwatch struck at Gamorra in retaliation. They landed at Perusia Beach and walked inland and did not stop walking until they had killed more than 200 of my people. But now Stormwatch no longer exists. There is no one on this planet who can place shackles on my anger. The second knot of the circle needs to be cut immediately before the blood dries in Moscow. For the second knot, it is only fitting that I double the attack force. Raise your Kuroshi knives to me, as my brothers and I did to our fathers before we went out to our vocation. Terrorism. Bring terror to the earth. Remind them what Gamorra means. Go with my love. Oh. Mildly messed up. And my hate. Go with my love and my hate. Jenny Sparks, what is this all about? How did you get in here? Through the carrier door, but that isn't important. What is important is this. Stormwatch may be gone, but there's still a way to stop these bastards before it's too late for everyone. But you'll have to give me your intel on this. Who's gonna stop them, Jenny? What have you been up to? Friends. When you put me and the rest of Stormwatch Black Team into hiding, we decided not to be idle. Me, Jack Hawksmoor, Shin Li Min, we started talking to people. Now, are you going to give me all your intel on the Moscow incident or not? That's all of it, plus our own conclusions, inferences and speculations, some related background too. Thanks, we'll be in touch. Door. Who's gonna stop them, Jenny? A higher authority. Back in the carrier, in the junction room. How'd it go? Not as well as expected. I've got the information we needed. We didn't really need it, Jenny. Not with the engineer, and the doctor, and... Okay. We needed Christina and Jackson to believe we needed them. Because when all bloody hell breaks loose, and it's going to, we will need them to convince the powers that be to stay out of our way. Where is the engineer? I want to make sure you've actually got something in this place that'll read this disc. She's in mission control, fiddling around things beyond mortal kin and like that. Actually, Jack, do me a favor. Shoot. Moscow. Survey the damage personally. See what you can pick up. Not you, Shen. Last thing we want is to show the Russians as another flyer right now. Moscow, incident location, Central. Door. Oops. There is Hawksmoor. Keep in mind, Hawksmoor's power is to become one with the city. And he can use the city as a weapon. Keep in mind that most cities are heavily populated, so this doesn't really bode well for the residents. He decides to use his power, right? Damn. This is what I get for being physically locked into the nervous systems of cities. Connecting quicker than ever these days. Well, since Moscow's letting me know she's hurt, let's see what else she can tell me. What the hell is this supposed to be? It's their mark, isn't it? The people who did this? This is the mark with the circles. The mark of Gamorra. Let's see what else. This is interesting. I haven't seen residual radiation like that since the days of writing Stormwatch transfer base. Engineer, reckon we can play this? Not a problem. And I told you my name is Angela Spica. Angie, for God's sakes, Jenny. I know, but I have to get used to calling you by codename when we're out in the field. Where's the doctor? In a private room arranging some kind of conversation with the previous doctor. You know, the one Stormwatch killed. I know. Hold on, conversation with a dead man? On second thought, I'm not going to ask. You know, I find myself about to say, God, how weird is that guy? Then I look at what I'm wearing and where I'm standing. You want weird? I'll tell you how I met the doctor sometime. I'm nearly 100 years old and the bastard gave me goose pimples for days. That's right, you heard that right. Jenny Sparks is in fact 100 years old. An important thing to remember as you observe her behavior. So you walk with a pantheon, just as I did. Yes, spirit of the 20th century, the winged huntress, the maker, the sun king, knight's bringer of war, and me, the shaman. I have less experience in any of them. You are the first of us to operate publicly on a fully global scale. Experience is not important in the terms of which you frame it. You are the doctor. On my death, singularity opened up around you, and you knew then everything that all of us knew. How many of us have there been? There's always been a doctor. Earth always needs their shaman. It has become your job, as was mine, and all of ours, to change the world. Because magic is nothing but change. We never wanted the earlier doctor to die, you know? Nor the first engineer. Stormwatch was being run by a lunatic and he did it. I know. Wouldn't be here otherwise. Wish I'd been able to meet him, the first engineer. I mean, I had met him in his real life, you know, but not as an engineer. I didn't even know it was him until my home computer filled up with all his notes on nanotech and started linking it to my work on human-machine fusion. Still amazes me. He sent all that to me in the second he died. And where's the dynamic duo? They went for a walk. And if they heard you call them that, in this job I have to steal my laughs where I can, no matter how sad, pathetic, or Jenny Sparks is laughing at us again, and she's still smoking those cheap English cigarettes that smell like the bottom of a gas can. Look at this. He must be crazy. We can't deal with things on this scale. For God's sake, we spent 5 years working on the alleyways of America. We go from that to this? To hell with this, and Sparks. We should never have listened. Never have brought Apollo and the Midnighter out of retirement. Retirement? My ass. We are Apollo and the Midnighter. And if this seems big, well then we'll just have to grow up. I'm never going to get used to this view, you know. You won't get the chance. We'll be out of the Epconic realm tomorrow, moving into Dimension 11. I think we're set to tack into the bleed afterward. Can't believe the luck the doctor and I had finding the carrier. I mean, look at it. The perfect headquarters. 50 miles long, 35 miles high, abandoned, powered by a caged baby universe. Say what? And sailing into the higher dimensions. Yeah, that is a long spaceship. The carrier, moving downward through the Devachonic realm at a speed of 25 dreams per second. Time passes, and meanwhile, back in the carrier mission control. We're in business. What? Jack saw the residue of the teleportation effect down in Moscow, but has set the carrier's sensor array to watch for it. How does this work again? Gives me a bloody headache every time I try to wrap my head around it. We may be moving through higher planes, but we're also in orbit around and in Earth. That's why the doors of the junction room can open on any point on the planet. So looking at the whole of Earth simultaneously isn't a problem. And we just saw multiple teleport effects, Jenny. Same signal from Gamora Island. Uh-oh. Where to, Angie? London, England. Right, we are most definitely in business. Everyone get yourself looking decent. Get your heads on straight. Get down to the junction room. I was born in London. Meanwhile, back in London, it is currently under attack. Oh, this isn't good. This is not what we want happen to Big Ben. Not at all. Oh my god. Apollo, the Sun King. The Midnighter, Night's Bringer of War. The Engineer, otherwise known as the Maker. The Doctor, the Shaman. Jack Hawksmoor, the God of the City. Swift, the Winged Huntress. And Jenny Sparks, the Spirit of the 20th Century. Game over. And with that particular scene, I am betting that's the end of the comic book. Really spectacular. That is a good introduction on the characters of the Authority and what they are about. And we're going to see more of them this week. We're going to at least see 2 or 3 more episodes before we jump into Graveslinger. Good stuff. Good stuff. I am excited. Can't wait. All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to set up for game. And yeah, we're going to play Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I will see you in a minute. And I think you're going to go for...